Hello and welcome to Biz Files. I'm Rosanne DeTorres and I'm the host of Biz Files. Biz Files is the talk show for business owners by business owners, where you'll get tips and insights from successful entrepreneurs who reveal their secrets to success and the pitfalls to avoid. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or just starting out in business, Biz Files offers business owners proven strategies for starting and scaling your business. Learn to think like an entrepreneur with Biz Files. Please check out my website at www.bizfiles.tv for information about future editions of Biz Files and tantalizing information and resources for entrepreneurs. Joining us today is my friend Anne Thornton. Anne Thornton is the founder and president of MSI Plumbing and Remodeling, one of New Jersey's few women-owned plumbing and remodeling companies.
That's right.
In over 25 years in business, Anne has grown her company to a multi-million-dollar operation providing building repairs, remodeling, and licensed plumbing services to residential and commercial properties throughout central New Jersey. Anne has been honored as one of New Jersey's top 25 leading women entrepreneurs. She is a Smart CEO Brava Award recipient and recently received the first ever Catalyst Award from the Women's Business Forum of the Hunterdon County Chamber of Commerce. Please welcome Anne Thornton.
Good morning and hello.
Good morning. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
So let's get right to it.
Okay.
I've been in business a long time and I don't know if all this social media stuff will help me. How do you use social media at MSI and what do you use?
Well, at MSI, we're really like a retail company. So I'm trying to reach customers to call me, right? I don't have a storefront, so it's important that I reach them in other ways. So social media in the last 3 years has really become such an integral part of my marketing plan. In particular, we're very heavy Facebook users, but the tip about Facebook for businesses is a couple of things. Number one, excuse me, is that we never sell anything on Facebook. It's like water heaters on sale, faucets on sale,
Right.
Ever. Our Facebook postings are always educational. And so 3 years ago, I developed a weekly posting called Maintenance Mondays. And every Monday, a little blurb post about, how to change why you should change your furnace filter, what you can do in freezing weather to prevent frozen pipes. Just a little blurb with either a link to more information or a photo, expressing what the sentiment is. Those have been extremely successful, and for a couple reasons. They're predictable. They are scheduled way in advance. They appear every Monday. And so now when I'm in the community, people say, oh, I saw your Maintenance Monday. It's not something, so you can't use social media as I'm going to do this for a couple weeks and see what happens. Mm-hmm. At least for us, that wouldn't work. It works. You have to be predictable and it has to happen, on a schedule, I think. So
the takeaway is to give something back, provide information, be educational, give something that's useful to the consumer and not sell.
Absolutely.
But also to be very consistent week to week so that the public that you're reaching is expecting that information.
Right.
Now, do you do anything to specifically target where you're posting that information?
A couple of things you can do there too. Now for me, because again, my business is a local business, I'm looking for customers within a literal 30-mile radius. I'm not selling something to somebody in California or even New York.
Right.
So Facebook has set up people can set up these geographic groups, and not only by geography, but also by things that they might like around an area of expertise or hobby or whatever.
Right.
So a lot of women in particular have set up community pages for where they live. So where I live in New Jersey, in our county and the counties that we work in, there are all these pages that you can find, ladies of Hunterdon County or Clinton Township page or the different town pages. And so what you do is you ask to be a part of that group, because most of them are private and you have to request membership. And then once you do that, that's where I repost all of my information for the Maintenance Mondays. For example, so every Monday, my post goes to the MSI Facebook page.
Right.
And then I sit there and it goes there automatically because it's been set up. But the reposting you have to do manually. So I sit there and literally, I love that word, post to about 12 different community pages.
Group pages.
Group pages.
And you just copy and paste.
Copy and paste. And one of them has 10,000 members, in our county.
It'd be nice if Facebook would allow you, because you cannot use, Hootsuite is a platform that I use to automatically post to Facebook and other social media sites, but you cannot use it to post to specific groups within Facebook.
Correct.
But one day they'll probably make that so.
That you can line it all up. Yeah.
It'll cut down on your copying and
But
pasting.
that's been a tremendous boost to what we do, with our experience with social media. It works because as you know, Roseanne, in my business, our dispatcher, every time someone calls, she asks, how did you hear about MSI?
Right.
And so we know.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah. How
do you know where you're getting your customers from?
Exactly that. We ask, and we keep track, every person, so we know. And I just actually ran the year-end report for last year, and we had 224 new customers.
Wow.
I know. That's it was 4.3 customers a week.
That's almost one a day.
That's almost a work day.
And what is the greatest source of the new customers?
Referrals.
From people that know you or have done business with you?
Yes. Almost 50%. And I've been keeping these records even before I had a software program that does this for me now. I used to keep them manually, and I still have them, like little
spreadsheets.
1, 2, 3, 4, cross. 1, 2, 3, 4, cross.
Oh, no, no kidding.
Oh yeah. I had a form. I still have them all because what I did was I took all that information I think I started in 2008. And I just put it all on a spreadsheet to see
the continuum
and how
the evolution of the business.
And right. But consistently, 50% of the new business comes from referrals.
50%. And the other 50%?
I would say probably 20% were coming from Facebook, maybe another 10% from just Google searches, 5 to 10%, just see our trucks. We have 13 trucks on the road, and they're like rolling billboards.
Okay.
And then maybe 5% from my TV commercials, which reinforce all kinds of things. People see that all the time. Really big jobs have come from the TV commercials, which is interesting.
And you can use that data, and the way that I've been able to use that kind of data in my business is then I can take the total number of new clients that we receive in any given year back into what the average value of a single client or customer is to my business. And then if I want to expand and grow, I know if I want to expand by X amount of dollars or revenue, I know I need on average to acquire 10 more clients.
Right.
So there's a lot of ways you could use that data that you're collecting.
But you have to step back and think about how to use it. And a lot of business people just don't know. So many business people they know their business, but they don't know running the business.
Exactly. They work in the business and not on the business.
Exactly. Yeah,
and I'm fascinated by metrics myself, and that's my area of interest and expertise. But you had to do something to get your name out there and for people to know about Anne Thornton and MSI Plumbing and Remodeling. And I'm a little on the introverted side, believe it or not, and unsure sometimes how to network. How do you go about networking? How did you start out? And could you give our audience some tips and suggestions about that, about networking? Sure,
because that's important to me too. Again, I serve my physical geographic community. So being involved and being a company that is seen as involved, that I'm supporting issues or I'm supporting efforts or nonprofits or business groups, etc. So with MSI, we really do take that approach about we're part of our community. And everyone is our prospective customers, also our neighbor. So we're involved in lots of different business groups, and we kind of divide and conquer, within the management of the several owners of the business. We have somebody who's very involved in Rotary, which is that's not even a business thing. You're not even supposed to talk about business, but of course, relationships promote business. But it's a really great organization that does all these wonderful things around the world. But I think for entrepreneurs and even intrapreneurs, people who work in big corporations, it's just important I was thinking about this, that there's really kind of 3 groups that you have to be involved in. If you're an entrepreneur like me, it's your local chambers of commerce. That kind of spider web of the group that's overseeing many things and typically has been there for a long time, right? But then if you're a woman in business, it's also finding a women's leadership group or a women's business group. So important, because we face many different things.
Different challenges,
different challenges, definitely. And it's great to have a group of like-minded and where you are. For me, having much bigger business, I've luckily 5 years ago found this wonderful women's presidents organization that, because my business is so much bigger than most of the businesses where I live, for women owned at least.
Right.
And so I had different needs, et cetera. But the third area, I think, is so important, no matter if you're male or female, is to be involved in your trade industry groups. You need to know, be a member, go to their trade shows, volunteer for a committee, get yourself known, get in a leadership position. Not only does it develop you personally and business-wise, but it gives you those contacts of networking, so that if you decide you don't want this job anymore, or they don't want you anymore, you have a network out there to reach out to. So it's really the overall, kind of chambers of commerce type groups, professional groups for women, and then those trade professional groups. Those are the three areas I see that are most important to really develop your networking.
When you first go in a room of people that you don't know, though, how do you approach that situation and deal with your anxiety about being in a room of people that you've never met before?
Well, first you have to do exactly what you just said. You have to recognize you have anxiety about people you've never met before. So, I'm all about practice. Practice. I started in my career as a teacher. So, when you're a teacher, you're all about practice. So I would do this even with my own children, that let's role play. And role play, you don't even need another person to role play. You can role play in a mirror. You can role play in a computer screen. And practice, what you're going to say. And I think the key really is asking questions, not coming up and say, hey, I'm Anne Thornto, I own MSI Plumbing, I'm blah, 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 blah. And that's exactly what they're hearing. It's like the Peanuts character,
right.
Wah, wah, wah.
Exactly.
Right? Unless I come up and, hey, I'm Anne Thornto, I own MSI Plumbing and Remodeling. I think I've seen you here before. What do you do? Or, you've just got some kind of natural
You
intro.
ask questions.
I ask questions.
I think that's the best way to network. Yeah. I find, as somebody that is a little on the shy side, I like to ask a lot of questions. I think that puts the other person at ease.
Absolutely.
And it facilitates a conversation instead of, this is what I do and this is what I'm looking for.
Right. And I also be focused on that person. Especially when you're in a room and you might, you should go there with goals. I'm always all about goals. Who I want to meet, right. What am I trying to do here? But, hey, how are you? How are you? Be focused on the person that you're talking to.
Exactly.
At one at a time.
One at a time. Mm-hmm. And that's a good point you raised about knowing who's going to be at that meeting, so that you can specifically identify perhaps if there are specific people that you may want to meet that are at that meeting. A lot of networking events I go to, I know in advance who may be at that meeting that I would like to specifically try to talk to if I can.
Absolutely.
I also, one of the things I think has worked really well for me has been to always be interested in how you can help the other person. So if there's an introduction that person may like to make, or somebody in your Rolodex, we don't use Rolodexes anymore, but the point is that somebody perhaps they would like to meet. I always ask that person, who are your best referral sources? How do you get all of your business? Is there somebody that I might know that you'd like to meet? And sure. I think that the phrase that I use is giver's gain, or a go-giver. You give information, you give introductions, and that sort of karmic justice comes back to you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
I would totally agree with that. Of course. Yep.
So let's move on. I have a different topic I'd like to get your feedback on. I'm thinking about buying a commercial building for my business. Do you recommend that in the current real estate climate? And if I was going to do that, what are the top 3 things I would want to consider before committing to making a major investment like that?
Sure, because it is a major investment. I think first of all, you have to consider where you are in your business. If you're a younger business getting started and you've got 30 years to pay that baby off, then I think it's a great idea. If you're, have 5 or 10 years left that you're just thinking of, then maybe it's not such a great idea. The other thing about owning
because you think that the market isn't going to provide enough of a appreciation to justify the expense.
Right. And then, you're locked in. You're really locked in when you own a building, right? Sometimes you want more flexibility because you're growing in a different way, and maybe you want to, you may want to move.
Or retire sooner or something like
that. Exactly. exactly, for the flexibility of it. And the other part is funny. We do own our own building, but what business am I in? I'm in the plumbing and remodeling business, right?
It's
building
easy.
Repair building. It's easy for me. No one can own a building easier than me.
Right.
So, if you're a lawyer or a dentist or an insurance person or a technologist, you have a web development company or a marketing company, et cetera, rent is a business expense, right? So sometimes maybe focusing on that is the best thing for you. So it's, there's no right answer. It's just a lot of considerations. But I would say, owning a building is a huge responsibility. And yes, you may get all these tax advantages, but I mean, if it's an older building, et cetera, you may face unbelievable expenses for repairs that you had no idea that you would come your way. So the answer is you really have to ask a lot of questions.
You have to ask a lot of questions.
Right.
And the takeaway there is you have to kind of think about where you are in your career and your future. Have you done some long range planning about where you want to be and where you want to end up? And then really do some due diligence to make sure that that's the right building in terms of geographic location, but also the condition of the property.
Absolutely.
And do you really want to assume the responsibility for maintaining a building? I actually did an investigation on the building we're in, a very historic building in Flemington, New Jersey, and decided as a result of an inspection, because the building dates from the federal era in the 1700s, there's sections of that building that are from the 1780s, that I did not want to own that building because it was just so old, and I didn't really want to have to invest all those resources in basically just ongoing maintenance, because it is a building that has not been built to modern standards.
Right. And every time you touch it, with new permits, you have to upgrade something else.
Yes.
So, there's that consideration too, for sure.
So we just approached the new year recently, and I did some reviews with my team, evaluated performance. How do you do that in MSI Plumbing and Remodeling? And do you have a list of questions you ask? How do you go about doing performance reviews in your business?
Well, we have 26 employees, so that would be 26 performance reviews a year. It's pretty loose. We're not really very structured like a big corporation would be necessarily. And we'll do kind of reviews along the way too, because we like to let people give people feedback.
Right.
But yes, we do meet with every employee. We talk about, we just make it a conversation. What do you think was your big achievement this year? What challenges did you have? How can we help you? In my business, I always think, because, the office people, I'm not the plumber, I'm not the carpenter. I know a lot about it, but I'm not that person. I always tell our office people, our job is to make it the easiest to give our technicians, the plumbers and the remodelers and the carpenters, the time to do their job. That we don't want them doing paperwork. So whatever we can do from an administrative point of view for them, that's our job, is to prop them up.
Do you ask them that? How can we make your job easier?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yes. And one way we answered that question a little bit more than a year ago, was we went from kind of a paper system with the 5 plumbers to a tablet, online software. I mean, it was a big investment, a big training, et cetera, but they love it.
So they go on the job, and what do they do?
Everything is on their tablet. Everything
from estimating to
the price book. It's tied right back into QuickBooks.
So they're keeping track contemporaneously what they're doing.
Everything is, awesome. And they get their schedule, and they have GPS, and we can see where they are.
High tech.
And was a result because they really wanted that. They, and we really wanted it too. But you're always trying to get into the next part of your business, right? And finally had somebody on staff that could help us figure out how to do it.
Yeah, there is a learning curve there for technology if that's not your area.
But getting back to employees, I mean, they're our most valuable asset, and it's a constant. I don't want to say battle, challenge. I mean, it's like having, not that they're children, but because I'm a mother and I have children, and it's my business. It can be frustrating because you have these things are going great, and then things with somebody else are not going great.
Right.
And when you have 26 of them every day, there's a chance something's not going great. So you have to, as the owner over the years, I've learned that I kind of have a step away and take away my emotional attachment to these people, because I have to do what's best for the business. And that sometimes that requires a hard decision. Yeah. But, you know, you learn that.
Sure.
And because you made mistakes by not learning it. And that's how
it is difficult, though, not to become not emotionally involved, but attached to people, because you spend so much time with them, you grow fond of them. But cultural fit is so important to the rest of the team. And one person can really defeat the whole culture of that team that you've built so far. So despite the fact that you know that that person's going to lose their job, you still have to make that tough decision.
Absolutely.
I also find that when I ask my team in private what we could improve on, what was their greatest challenge, they're more forthcoming about telling me than if we, at our monthly lunch meeting, we go around the table and ask. Everyone is tight-lipped. But when you get them alone and you give them the opportunity to share, you know.
And you shut up and start to listen.
Exactly.
Right? It's hard to do too sometimes.
I'm amazed. And, you know, just this year learned some really valuable things about how we could improve our processes and systems, and some things that, you know, people were sort of not offended by, but didn't like, and I had no idea.
Right.
So it's something that even if you're a small operation, you still want to do and invite that kind of feedback, because it does help you grow and it helps you evolve into a better place to work.
Sure. Speaking of small operation, it's funny. I've been in business almost 30 years. And even when we were a small operation, there was, you know, 1 or 2 and then 3 and 4 that, you know, you just don't go to 20, at least we didn't overnight. There are businesses I'm sure that do, but ours was a long progression for many reasons. But the growing part is that, you know, you just continually learn to try to get the best people, because they are the ones that are going to move you to the next level, because you learn that you just can't know it all anymore. And so you have to have that team, right? That technologist, that accountant, that lawyer, that architect, whatever that is for your business. You just have to continually find those.
Are you always in the process of looking for people?
Always.
I am too.
Always. And I have many times hired people that I didn't really need at that point, because I thought they were such a great fit, and I made it work. I would just not take a paycheck or figure out another job until we got, you know, because to me, the people are everything. Yeah. The people are everything.
I'm in constant search too for the right people for the job. So with such a profitable business and a business that's grown over time, how are you able to manage your time? How do you get everything done? I know you have a family, you have children, you have a spouse, you have a thriving business, and you're obviously involved. You said you were involved in, you know, you network, you're involved in charitable organizations and peer groups. How do you manage everything?
How do I get it all done? A common question, and my answer is, you have to know that you, as a woman with all those things, that you just can't have it all. You can, and if they tell you that, just say, well, I don't believe that. You can't have it all, but you can have as much as you can during your periods of your life. So I've always approached my business through the lenses of my life. So we kept our business small when our children were small. So we didn't want to be out at night, you know, in the property management business back then. We were a big property management company, et cetera. So as my children grew and went away, we grew our business more. And so that I could work school hours. Those were the things that were important to me. I wanted to have a successful business, and I was very careful about the groups that I chose to be in. You know, especially now, I mean, I get asked to be in lots of boards, to, of course, give money to everybody. And I learned to be very selective, to make sure that it's the group I want to be a part of, that's important to me, and that I just can't say yes to everything. So I've just been very cognizant of my life. I mean, that's really how I do it, is that I've really thought about it. I mean, have I done crazy things? Of course. and not thought about it? Of course. But for the most part, I think you really have to step back and say, what do I want out of my business life now? What can I have that's also going to give me what I want in my family or my relationship or whatever it is in your life? And then for me now, you know, my kids are grown. I have a chance. The last 8 years, we've really gone after growing the business, doubled in size, doubled in revenue, you know. I know how to do them all, of course, all of that, but it's just staying organized and staying focused. And, you know, I'm very organized about my paper. I'm very organized and very respectful of my team's time. So I have, for the people who report to me, basically I have a little slot for each one. And when I have something for them, I just put it in that slot and I collect it until it's a good time to sit down and say, all right, I'll get you this. Instead of saying, oh, I just want you to do this now. What does that do? You know, that's about me. I want you to do this now, when really it's something, you know, I want to respect your time. Yeah, I'm very respectful of their time. And I
like that a lot. I tend to be the opposite of that, which is get this off my desk and just, as I experience it, pass it off and delegate it, when I could be more thoughtful about my team's time and collect the assignments, if you will, and then when it's convenient for them, approach them. That's a great idea.
Absolutely, because I have this vertical file. I mean, you know, it's slots, and I just throw stuff in there all day long. Yeah. I've got Les, Brad, Rich, you know, everybody, and then my outbox on top. I'm organized.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad you like that.
Okay, great. Wow. So we're almost at the hour here, and I have 5 questions. I want to do a rapid fire question and answer.
Is there a prize?
Last tidbits of information for our audience. Okay. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Who was your greatest business mentor and why?
It would have to be my husband, Les Giese. And why is because my background, I was a teacher and a counselor, but I always wanted to be a secret businesswoman. So he's the one that opened that up for me. Yeah.
What one thing would you tell your 14-year-old self?
Stay organized. And don't let life control you. Control life.
What one thing do you do every day to stay motivated?
I read every day. I take time out of my day to look at different news sites I'm interested in. I like to be up on everything that's going on. So I do take time every day, and that keeps me motivated.
What is the defining characteristic of your brand? Your personal brand or your business's brand?
I would say trust. And it's kind of funny because as a woman who owns this very male-dominated business, you know, contractors have a terrible reputation. You know, I thought about this, and I do my husband actually told me this quote, and I do love it, actually. One riot, one ranger. It goes back to the Texas Rangers, you know, the manly men of the West. And, you know, there would be some kind of uprising somewhere, and the motto was one riot, one ranger. And that goes back to my management style of not micromanaging. One riot. This is yours.
This is your situation.
Figure it out.
Right.
Yeah.
How can my audience find you?
MSI Plumbing and Remodeling. We're located on Route 31 between Clinton and Flemington, New Jersey. And our website is msiplumbingandremodeling.com. So we'd love to hear from you.
Well, we're out of time today, and I want to thank Anne Thornton for joining me on Biz Files. And to everyone listening and watching, thank you for joining me for this edition of Biz Files, the talk show for business owners by business owners. Please visit me on my website, www.bizfiles.tv, where you'll find information about future editions of Biz Files and tantalizing information and resources for entrepreneurs. Until next time.